All right. Bear with me on this, guys. Look, I'm not a scientist, all right? I didn't go to school for that. I don't know anything about the cosmos on, like, a very grand scale. I haven't read into, like, quantum physics or anything like that. But I think I have a way to punch a hole through the universe into the larger multiverse, okay? Step one, I dye my hair red, all right? And then I become ginger teching, right? And then I continue just doing the YouTube stuff as I always do, except I'm ginger teching. And I think the sheer level of transcendent cringe from, my, ginger teching antics will literally rip a hole in the fabric. Like, reality itself could not hold it. And then we have access to parallel planes. I think that would work. I'm like 99% sure, but I want to hear your comments about it. Alright, so today's video, though, is going to be talking about the most epic ginger of all fiction. Guild Arts, get in line, buddy, alright? Step back about 5 or 6, ways behind Shanks, alright? So, Shanks is a Yonko, and he is, of course, the leader of the Red Hair Pirates, which we're going to be talking about today. I just read this yesterday on the One Piece subreddit, and it was somebody that basically commented, Shanks is the character, he's a Yonko that we've known for the longest, he's one of the characters we've known for the longest period, since he appeared in the very first chapter of One Piece, and yet, he's the Yonko that we know the least about. With Kaido, at least we have an idea of how Kaido's crew is structured, he's got, he's the head of it all, and he's got the calamities under him, the 3 calamities, although we only know about one of them, Jack. We know certain members of his crew, like Sheep's Head and Jean Rummy, and the Gifters, and the Pleasures. That's what we know about Kaido. Big Mom, of course, we found out all about her crew during this arc, how it's like her family, and, how the thing works with her husbands, and all the different sons and daughters she's got. Then that's all the different, like, half-species she has, like, half snake neck, half mermaid, all that stuff. And Blackbeard, of course, we know about, because we've known him ever since Jaya, and, his crew, and the names of them, and everything like that. Don't really honestly know much about Blackbeard and his, like, new, like, setup as a Yonko over the 2 years. Like, he has all these massive fleets. There's probably still a few more characters in the Blackbeard crew that are really strong that we don't know anything about yet. And here's another thing. We have yet to actually see Blackbeard in the current storyline. We've seen him on the Den Den Mushi, and we saw him in kind of like the background, like silhouetted when Doflamingo was discussing, like, the Throne Wars, but we haven't actually seen Blackbeard yet, so probably some stuff about his crew that are, going to be revealed later on. But when it comes to Shanks, we know next to nothing, and that is scary. Do you not think that's scary? We know 5 named members of Shanks' crew, including himself, and then we know another 5 that we've seen at Marineford, but we don't know their names, we don't know their abilities, we really don't know what they can do, and we also know that they have a monkey. Now, instantly, you're gonna think, like, okay, what's up with that monkey? That is gonna be a funky monkey. It's gonna have, like, a giant, like, King Kong mythical zone devil fruit, right? I'm watching you, monkey. Don't think that you're gonna get away out of my radar. But aside from that, I mean, we really don't know anything else about the crew members. Even the ones that are named, like Lucky Roux and Ben Beckman and Yasop and Rockstar. Does anyone even remember Rockstar? I remember Rockstar. Even though we know their names, we don't know really anything about them, beside, like, the aesthetic stuff, like how they're designed and stuff. We know Ben Beckman uses guns and smokes a cigarette. We know Lucky Roux is fat, which is probably going to be integral to his powers in some way. Yasop is Usopp's father, but even with Yasop, we don't know anything about. Fuck, even Shanks! Even Shanks himself. What do we know about Shanks? Like, seriously, what do we know about Shanks? I already did a discussion video about Shanks in the Yonko series, so I'm not going to be talking about Shanks all too much in this video. If you want a whole video focused on that guy himself, go check it out up here. But what do we know really about Shanks? Okay, we know he used to be, like a cabin boy on Roger's crew, and Roger gave him the straw hat, and he was with Buggy there, and then, Roger gets executed, he goes out, finds Yasop, starts his own crew up, at some point, Ben Beckman, Lucky Roux join. We don't know the story there. They arrive at Dawn Island. That's when Luffy meets him, and then that's how, he gets inspired to become a pirate. Was Shanks a Yonko at this point or not? We don't know. When did Shanks... I guess at this point, Shanks had several duels with Mihawk. That was a thing. And then after that, he disappears, and we see him sporadically throughout the series. Like, when he wants to go, he meets Whitebeard, or he was on that island, and Mihawk showed up when Luffy got his first bounty. And then at the war, that was why it was such a big deal when Shanks showed up at the war. Like, oh, Shanks is going to be the one to top off this evening's entertainment at Marineford. That's a big freaking deal. But aside from that, we really don't know anything about his abilities. He has a sword named Griffin, but we've never really seen him straight up, like, get into a fight with it. He clashed with Whitebeard. That was all we got there. He blocked Akainu's blow when he was attacking Kobe. We've never seen Shanks, like, take out Griffin and be like, bring it on, and, like, Duel of the Fates level. We've never seen that, all right? That's all we know, and that's the most we know about any member of the freaking red hair pirates. But, all right, that was Shanks, though. That was Shanks. Already discussed him, card up here, go watch that. So now we're going to be going through all the other members of the Red Hair crew, discussing how much, we know about them, the very little, and then what could possibly see from them in the future. I'm under the impression, because Oda is kind of, like, very sparse with showing off the Red Hair Pirates, he's saving them for, like, a big, like, throwdown later. Like, the Red Hair Pirates are going to clash with the Blackbeard Pirates or something, and that's when we're going to find out all this stuff about them, and he's keeping them mysterious for a reason. But let's discuss the first mate first. This is going to be Ben Beckman, the smartest man in the East Blue, according to Oda. The second smartest being Captain Kuro, and the third smartest being Nami. Don't worry about it, Nami, though. You win in terms of bustiness. I'm sure no one out there even comes close. But, in the larger scope of the world, you got competition. But when it comes to East Blue, you are the bustiest. Okay. It's gotta go to... I gotta talk about boobs at some point. Every time I mention Nami, it has to digress into boobs at some point, even if I'm discussing someone completely separate from Nami. Go, girl. Okay, so Ben Beckman, alright? He is the first mate of the crew, interesting story about his name, Ben Beckman. It actually comes from an alias that was used by the real-life King of the Pirates. I already made a discussion video about that. The inspirations for Goldie Roger were, one of them was Henry Avery, and after Henry Avery had this big, boom as a pirate, he stole, like, millions of dollars from this galleon, along with a bunch of other pirates. He fled and lived in hiding, and one of the aliases that we think he used was like Benjamin Beckman or something like that, and so Ben Beckman comes from that alias, so that's pretty cool. Once again, this was like one of the original characters that Oda designed, like way back in Romance Dawn, like version 1 or 2 or whatever, so a lot of the names probably came from real life pirates at that point, right? So all we know about Ben Beckman is probably the biggest moment with him is during Marineford when he takes out his gun, his rifle, and he just kind of points it at Kizaru. And Kizaru, like, he stalls. Now Kizaru does not act, like, visibly terrified. He doesn't act like, oh, please don't shoot me, He just kind of raises up his hands and doesn't move. Now, keep in mind, Kizaru is a guy that can move very, very fast. I hesitate to say straight up light speed because there's a lot of debate in that. But even if you want to disregard all that, Kizaru is a guy that can move very, very, very fast, okay? And despite this, having a gun pointed at him from, several yards away, it's not like Ben Beckman was holding a rifle straight up to Kizaru's head, basically just, raised it up, he's sitting on the mast of a ship, and Ben Beckman could not be any more cash in this situation. He just kind of raises up, he's smoking a cigarette, and just raises up his rifle like, don't even think about it, Kizaru. And just, like, such a chill guy, and Kizaru's like, alright, I guess I can't move. So, in that regard there, I can either think of two things. Number one, sea stone bullets, which is the most common thing, but another thing that is way more badass, hockey-infused bullets. We know that can definitely be a thing. It probably takes a lot of skill to do something like that, but we know that, like, the Kuja can infuse their arrows with hockey, and if that's a projectile, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to infuse hockey into a bullet or something like that, or just infusing hockey into the rifle, and then the bullets would, just by extension would have hockey. Something like that. Ben Beckman, though, he's wicked intelligent. He's the first mate on a freaking Yonko's crew, so he would definitely definitely be able to do that. He might have like a sea stone bullet thing too, because we know those exist. They're just really rare to come across and to make, probably because sea prism stone is so rare. Making them into bullets probably isn't very practical, because if you shoot a bullet, you might not be able to get the thing back at the end of the day, and you're wasting this very valuable like gemstone essentially. So I like to think of the hockey idea, something along those lines. That's why Kizaru was terrified, because if he tries to move, and with Kizaru, and he can turn in the light and everything, but if Ben Beckman has like top-level observation and top-level armament hockey, and he manages to get a shot out on Kizaru, even if he's phasing into light form, if he manages to hit him in the head, like headshot, hockey bullet, that's probably not going to be good for Kizaru. So Kizaru, Admiral-level dude, the ability to turn into straight-up light, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna try to stand up against you there. So that's Ben Beckman. He was there during the original crew when Luffy first met him back at Dawn Island 10 years ago. The original, like, Yasop was there, Lucky Roux was there, Ben Beckman was there. I think those are the only ones. I think because this was so long ago in the story, you could always point to maybe like the rough design for that character was in Dawn Island in Romance Dawn, and then later on Oda, because this is like a 10-year gap, 12 years now with the time skip. So, characters can change their designs and everything like that. Maybe Oda was just going, okay, this was the rough draft for this character, but I'm going to change it over later on. Like, I remember there was a character back in Romance Dawn, here he is right here, just kind of like a bald guy with sunken in eyes. This might be the same dude. With the monkey, it's just, he looks slightly different and everything like that, but the eyes are similar, and you could always chalk that up to being like 10 years and Oda's drawing style evolving and stuff like that. But yeah, Ben Beckman was there at that point. Who else? We have Lucky Roux. Lucky Roux actually has the credit, I believe, for the first ever character in One Piece to straight up cap another character. He pulls out a gun straight up point blank to one of the mountain bandits' heads and just blows their freaking head off. Just blows their brains all over the freaking the freaking town square in Fuchsia Village, and that was beautiful, because that was like a moment that was like the big shock moment of the chapter, because the whole thing about Romance Dawn and about the first introduction of Shanks' crew was that they're in the bar and Higuma shows up and he messes with them and stuff and pours the freaking booze all over Shanks, and Shanks is like, it's all right, don't get over feisty just over a bar fight, it's not worth it. And then they kidnap Luffy, and then that's when they truly get serious. And then you think at first maybe they're not really all that great in terms of pirates or whatever, but then Lucky Roux just shows up and just caps a motherfucker right upside the head, and it's like, okay, you were serious this whole time. Lucky Roux, I love his design. He looks always so chipper, because with the red hair pirates, usually whenever you see them, it's hit or miss. Sometimes they're really serious, even with Shanks. Shanks can mix between, like, I'm jolly, I'm Cockney Shanks, Luffy, come on, let's go on an adventure, or, like when Mihawk showed up on his jungle island, or when Ace found him in his, like, winter cave or whatever. Shanks seems to go to a lot of weird places, considering he's a Yonko. Like, Ace found him in the middle of, like, a mountain pass in a freezing cave. It's like, alright, Shanks, you're a Yonko. You don't need to be huddling in a cave, but alright, whatever. In those situations, Shanks was very serious, or hungover. Probably hungover, but he was like, not very laughable until, Ace told him about who he was and how he's related to Luffy, and then, he gets all cheery and jolly all of a sudden. So it's like hit or miss. Sometimes the crew's really cheery, sometimes they're serious. But with Lucky Roux, he's like always cheery, always has that giant freaking grin on his face, always chowing down on a big chunk of mutton or whatever that is, a big turkey leg or something, like, yeah, let's do it, guys. So I the fact that he's like really big, I feel like that's probably going to be relevant into his abilities and stuff, in some way, shape, or form. Like, you ever watch My Hero Academia with like Fat Gum or something? Whenever you have like a really fat character, you could always, in manga, you could always take it like, it's like with Choji and Naruto, or with Fat Gum in My Hero Academia, it's like, oh, they're gonna have some secret ability so they get like super thin and ripped and they like beat the shit out of your opponent. Something along those lines. I'm not saying that'll definitely happen. It might just be for the aesthetic case. You know, there's this fat, jolly dude that happens to wear really, you know, does not wear very fitting clothing, and that's just his thing, you know. He's just a happy, fun-loving dude named Lucky Roux, but at the same time, he really values his crew, and he, you know, looks at Shanks as the leader and everything like that, and he'll do whatever Shanks asks, but he's just really happy and chipper, and he eats a lot, and that's his character. So far, that's all we know about Lucky Roux. Yasopp. All right, so Yasopp is Usopp's father. Yasopp is not a very good dad. Like, let's be honest here. It kind of reminds me a lot of, like, Gon and Jean's relationship from Hunter x Hunter. How Jean was just like, you know what, I'm gonna leave my family and my newborn child to go out and be a hunter. But at least Jean is like a better father than Yasopp, because at least Jean left like a message for Gon when he became old enough and when he became a hunter. And he set up like, okay, you're gonna have to go through these trials to get stronger, to have the skills to meet me, you know, and something like that. Yasopp, from as far as we know, Yasopp just kind of left. He didn't leave a note. He just basically was just like, all right, guys, later, I'm going out to be a pirate. I'm gonna go pillage and probably murder people at some point, and don't know if I'll be returned to you a bullet-ridden corpse. The Marines are probably, they might kill me, but, you know, later, you know, like, Usopp was like a little kid at the time. His wife, you know, left to be a single parent. Banshina eventually ended up getting some sort of illness, and she passed away, and Usopp was left essentially an orphan. I mean, not really an orphan because his dad is still alive, but it's not like his dad was ever gonna, like, his dad never showed back up. He's like, all right, son, like, Usopp's childhood, like, he's never getting that back. And kind of the same deal with Gon and Jean. Whenever Usopp grew up, Usopp did not view his dad like, oh man, he left me all alone on this island with mom, and then mom died, you know, he's a horrible dad. Instead of doing that, Usopp was like, well, he went out to follow his dream, to be a brave warrior of the sea. That's what I want to do with my life. And I'm like, all right, I think that might be something psychological you might want to get looked into, Usopp. Same thing with Gon and Jean. Gon is just like, well, my dad did abandon me when I was a baby, but he went to go be a hunter, so being a hunter must be awesome if he abandoned me to be one. Being a pirate must be cool. You know, that's the idea, that's the way. And, you know, it's a shonen, so maybe, and this is early on in the story, maybe not make it, like, super, super dark at that early on in the story, but then again, you have Nami's backstory, which is early in One Piece, and that's dark as all hell, so whatever, I don't know, but, you know, I really want to see Usopp and Yasopp reunited at some point, and there might be kind of a tearful reunion between the two. Like, here's a question, does Yasopp even know his wife is dead? Like, seriously, like, he might, but how would he even know about something like that? Like, the communications network in One Piece is not, like, really all that elaborate. I mean, you got Den Den Mushi and letters and pigeons and shit, but that was it. Seagulls, sorry. So it's very possible Yasopp might not even know his wife is dead. He's, of course, aware of Usopp's exploits, even if... I don't know if you want to include Yasopp into that group that was like when Usopp got his first bounty as Sogeking. It was like, whoa, who is this mysterious sniper king, huh? He thinks he's the king of the snipers? Well, I guess I'm the best sniper in the world. I guess we're gonna have a battle at some point. But considering that Kaya and the veggies were able to know it was Usopp right away, probably Yasopp would know it's his son right away. But even if that wasn't the case, you know, Usopp has the updated bounty poster that's God Usopp, so that would be rather confusing for Yasopp reading that. I would imagine he looks at the new bounty posters for the Straw Hats and he's like, my son is God? Wait a second, if he's... Wait, am I God too? What? I'm so confused by this right now. You know, is it like he's Jesus? Like the Father and the God and the same? Am I God? What? You know, like whatever. I don't know. But that would be a rather interesting thing. I want to see those two reunite, and I hope it's not like a simple just like, hey dad, hey son, so you're a brave warrior of the sea, dad, so you're God, huh son? I'm like, yeah. I hope it's like a moment where it's like, yeah, you abandoned me and mom died, and I was alone, and the entire village basically detested me, and you know, and I didn't have a great life growing up. Now, to be fair, Out of all of the Straw Hats, Usopp's backstory is probably the least depressing. Okay, his mother did die and his dad did leave him, but his dad is still alive at the end of the day. It's not like freaking Chopper. Dr. Herolook is never coming back. It's not like Frankie. Tom is never coming back. Although, to be fair, we never actually saw what happened with Tom. Robin's mother, Olvia, is never coming back. So in that situation, Usopp can still actually meet his father. And that's really cool and everything like that. But I still hope they just address it in some way. I hope it's not just some played off thing. But then they can, like, reunite and have, like, a moment together. As both, like, brave warriors of the sea or something like that. Yasopp is the sharpshooter on the crew, which is interesting because, as I've stated, we have Ben Beckman that uses rifles and pistols as his primary weapon, and we also have Yasopp who uses a rifle and pistols as his primary weapon. So you have two really highly skilled sharpshooters on the Red Hair Pirate crew. And I mean, hey, it's not like you can only have one. I mean, even on the Straw Hat crew, you have Brook and Zoro who use swords to fight. Now, of course, Zoro is much more highly skilled than Brook, and Brook has like a different style. But maybe the same thing goes for Ben Beckman and Yasopp. Maybe it's like, well, you use a gun to kill people in ways that I don't, but I can still respect you as a member of the crew. Something along those lines here. In the anime, it was added that there was that moment where Yasopp fought against Daddy Masterson at Logtown, and I think this was added in the there was like an extra Logtown novel that included this. This was something that was supposed to be in the manga with Daddy Masterson and everything. Oda even did like rough sketches of the character and his daughter, but it just couldn't fit into the manga in time, so they put it in the anime. So it's one of those gray areas. So yeah, I think maybe that makes sense though for them to like arrive at Logtown and a little bit more development for Yasopp. He makes the bold claim, I can shoot the antennae off of an ant from like this distance away or something like that. So he's obviously one of the best, if not the best sharpshooters in the entire One Piece world. Probably only rivaled by characters like Ben Beckman and like Augur from the Blackbeard crew. And because he being a sniper, his observation hockey would be top level, maybe even better than Katakuri's on that degree we're talking about here. And I've always questioned, why does Usopp never use a gun? And I understand the reason. It's because that's not his weapon. It's a slingshot. He grew up with a slingshot. That's his thing. That's his aesthetic. It'd be very weird in the One Piece world if all of a sudden Usopp switched to guns. But let's not even question this. If Usopp picked up a gun, he would be freaking Deadshot, like John Marston, like Deadeye mode from like Red Dead Redemption, which by the way, that's getting a sequel. I'm really pumped for that. It's been like 7 or 8 years since that came out. Wow, I feel old. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't use guns, but it would be cool for Usopp at some point just to pick up a pistol and just, start unloading. That would be really cool to see that. But anyway, yeah, that's Yasopp there. Moving on to Rockstar, who's the last of the named members of the crew. We have Shanks, Ben Beckman, Lucky Roux, Yasopp, and Rockstar. Yeah, it's all 5 of them. That's all the ones we know that have names. Rockstar first showed up at the end of Alabasta, and this was kind of overshadowed by Whitebeard's introduction, but Rockstar was there as well. He was the one that was supposed to deliver the letter to Whitebeard. Shanks gave him a letter about the whole Blackbeard thing, and, have to stop Ace and everything, and Shanks eventually met Whitebeard himself and discuss this, but at first he thought, I'll try to send a messenger, maybe Whitebeard will listen to it. Of course, Whitebeard basically rips up the letter and tells Rockstar, if Red Hair wants to talk about this with me, then he can come do it himself. Don't send a freaking pleb. And Rockstar was like, I'm not a pleb, I'm the super awesome Rockstar, I got a bounty of 94 million. Now here's something important to think about, alright? At this point in the story, this was right after Luffy defeated Crocodile and Luffy got 100 million berry bounty. And Zoro also got his first bounty at 60 million berries. Now, so Rockstar's was lower than Luffy's at this point, but you have to remember, 100 million, that was like a huge number at this point. And the fact that 94 million, that's like, and he's considered a noob. He's considered like one of the lowest tier members of the Red Hair Pirate crew at 94 million. So that's kind of like gives you a scale for the level of the red hair crew, for the level of a Yonko crew, where, you know, he's just 6 million berries shy of becoming considered a supernova, and he's like the lowest tier member of the crew. So that's something that's pretty interesting there. Now, we have seen Rockstar since then. He appeared in the cover serial when the red hair crew was at that wedding at some weird island with the cacti. You know, he's there off to the side. So Rockstar's still a member of the crew. Oda still hasn't forgotten about him. So yeah, we'll definitely be seeing more of Rockstar in the future. His bounty is most definitely higher. Yeah, and with the wedding, I have no idea what's up with that. I have no idea whose wedding it is. But let me tell you one thing, though. I'll say this one thing. This scene right here on Dawn Island at Fuchsia, where you have Shanks and his crew and you have Makino there off to the side, you look at this expression on Makino's face, and you try to tell me it's not, oh my god, I want this manly man among ginger men to screw a baby in me right now. You don't tell me that's not what's on her mind. And then later on, after the time skip, she has a baby. I'm just saying. What was Shanks doing at Dawn Island to begin with? What was he doing there? Seriously, what business does he have there? I mean, he meets Luffy for the first time on the island, so why was he there to begin with? I don't know. What do you think, Javier? You think Shanks screwed Makino? Yeah, I think Shanks screwed Makino. I think it's pretty obvious, actually. Way to go, Shanks. Actually, no, way to go, Makino. That's way more of a win for Makino. Damn right. Okay, so that's the only named members of the crew we got. Lucky Roux, Ben Beckman, Yasop, Rockstar, and Shanks, and that's all. So as for the 5 remaining members of the crew, my personal favorite is this dude, this long, blonde-haired, Rockstar dude. Not Rockstar. A lot of the aesthetic of Shanks' crew is like, think of like 1970s hard rock sort of design, you know, not just with Rockstar, but also with this dude. I mean, this dude looks like he would be like a bass player for like Zeppelin or something. Like, you understand where I'm going with this. You know, he's got the freaking bandana on his head with the Jolly Roger, he's got the badass shades, and then you have this dude with the shades and the long flowing hair and the freaking dragon tattooed on his neck, and then you got the dude with the monkey, and then you have the actual monkey, and then you have the feral dude that kind of looks like a crazy ape man. Who else? I think that's all of them. Oh no. Then you have this guy. I have no idea what's up with this guy, but you got this guy. And that's basically it. That's all we get. And I really can't hypothesize anything with those random crew members we know nothing about, because literally all they did was they showed up at the war, they struck an epic pose after Shanks declared the war was over, and Shanks says, you know, anyone else willing to fight will be your opponents. If you're so freaking bloodthirsty that wiping out the Whitebeard crew is not good enough for you, bring it on. We're here. And keep in mind, Shanks' crew, the red-haired pirates, we don't know all of the members yet, but the members of Shanks' crew are, like, in terms of numbers alone, way lower than every other Yonko we've seen. Kaido has an army of hundreds of artificial zone users. Big Mom has a family of 85 sons and daughters, plus other members like Bobbin that aren't her children that are just on the crew. Then you have Blackbeard, who has an entire fleet, basically like the negative version of the Whitebeard crew. And then you have Whitebeard himself, who had all these divisions. Shanks, as far as we know, has one ship, the flagship, the Red Force. Awesome name for a ship, by the way. And a crew that probably numbers less than 100. Probably only, from what we've seen, probably numbers only a few dozen. Like, if I was going to ballpark the number of members of Shanks' crew, probably no more than 30 or 40 from what we've seen. And that's, you know why? And that's imposing enough for the Marines to, like, back down. That's imposing enough for Blackbeard to back down. Blackbeard's like, he's alright, I guess not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. And he backs down and he runs away. And the Marines are like, okay, it's over, done, we're not fighting them. Okay, so even with that crew, with only a few dozen at most They were so terrified that they were backing down, or at least they didn't want to continue the fight. They didn't think it was going to be an easy victory. Exact the opposite, actually. So that's something imposing from Shanks' crew. So all these random guys that we don't know anything about yet, like the rocker dude and the dragon tattooed and the monkey guy, we don't know their names yet, but they are definitely going to be relevant and badass. Even the random dude with the sword, who kind of looks like rather like the most average looking one, he's probably going to have an epic freaking fight at some point. So yeah, you way to go, blonde-haired giant sword guy. You're gonna have an awesome moment. You're McCool. But yeah, they have the epic pose. Blackbeard backs down, and then they turn away, and then Shanks give his speech to the entire, like, all of Marineford, like, everybody listen to me, you're gonna have to just stop, lay down your weapons, and respect the fallen, and blah, 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 and then the war is over, and then that's it. We see them later, during Whitebeard and Ace's funeral, but that's it. And I believe that's the last time we've seen Shanks. This was pre-time skip. I don't think we've seen Shanks' crew a single time since the time skip, or anybody on his crew. I mean, in silhouette we've had, like in discussion, when Kid and Killer and Hawkins and Apu, they were talking about taking down Shanks. You see like him in the silhouette and everything, but we don't actually, see them physically. We don't know what's up with them, what they've been doing since then. But they're certainly probably going to be more of an end game. I would love to see them take on the Blackbeard Pirates or something, as revenge for Whitebeard or whatever, or get into some big, huge brawl with another pirate crew. They apparently fought against Kaido's crew before heading to Marineford. That's something else to keep in mind. They had a skirmish with Kaido, another Yonko. They arrive at Marineford the next day. The Red Force, not even touched. Doesn't look like it had any battle damage. The whole members of the crew, they don't have scuffs or bruises or cuts or anything on them. They just tangoed with Kaido, and they got out of that unscathed. Yeah, certainly quality over quantity in Shanks' crew. So, fear them, know them, and respect the gingers. Respect the gingers, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Leave your comments below on what you think the different members of the crew have in terms of abilities. From what I can see, they really don't look like a crew that's based a lot on Devil Fruit powers. We don't know if any of them have Devil Fruit abilities. I mean, yeah, you always hear Shanks is like, oh, he's gonna have, like, the time fruit, or the ability to mess with the space-time continuum. Shanks doesn't need it! Guys, Shanks is a one-armed swordsman that managed to, like, just bat away an admiral's magma blow like it wasn't a big deal, and tango with Kaido and get out of that unscathed. Do you think Shanks seriously needs a devil fruit on any capacity? He doesn't. It would be terrifying if we have a moment where we're talking, like the Gorosei or the Marines were discussing the red-haired pirates, and they, like, I can imagine freaking Kizaru or not Aokiji, because he's not part of it anymore, but like Akainu coming out and being like, yeah, the red-haired pirates, not a single member of their crew has a devil fruit ability, and yet they've become Yonko. Like, a line like that would, like, send shivers down your spine, but it's totally possible. So, well, what do you think below? Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. I'm going to go and see if I can get my hair dyed ginger, and we can maybe get this reality warping thing on track. All right, later. If you look out your window by the time this is uploaded and you see, like, a hole being opened up with, like, Cthulhu popping up, I succeeded. All right, later, everybody. Signing out!